Yo, peace and love. What up, though? What it do? What's popping? What's cracking? What's happening in times 9 times 10? Times 9 times 10.
I say.
Shay, I needed that sip of water so bad. Peace to the guy. I got my brother D Calico on the line. He's he's the guest host on my show. I'm the guest host on his show. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah. We doing a
Right.
multiplicity of things right now. You know what I mean? We definitely live in multiple places. Y'all already know what's going on.
Indeed. Indeed. Let's talk about it. I'm ready.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm ready for it.
Y'all already know. I'm glad to have the Washitawn, the Moor herself. You feel me? Toy-Tamir in the building. Like this has always been a real one. You know what I mean? Like she went through some things back in the days that made me first notice her, right? Yeah. I remember I remember that going to court situation back in the days. I mean, when you were coming out the building, they got the news in front of you, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. You know how it used to be. There was applying pressure, but you was doing the same. You was applying pressure back. And I remember noticing that. That was like at least that was close to a decade ago. That's why I like to call on you because you ain't no newcomer. You're not new to this. You true to this. And I'm just trying to introduce the people to the real. You know what I'm saying? We got to know who the real are out here. So I got none other than Toy-Tamir. You feel me? Like I'm pretty sure you might have been doing this longer than me. And I know I've been doing this for I've been nationalized for 11 years. And I know you've been doing it longer than that, so I can't do nothing but salute you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like these new guys. These new people, they don't respect me, but I've been doing it 10 years longer than them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the problem. The lack of respect, of actual scholarship, versus what y'all call them. They almost like you. We can almost call them trolls, but versus someone who is
Scholarship.
again just regurgitating something that they heard or they saw online. You know, um, I try to refrain from being biased, but again, it's kind of a difference in between somebody who read Dr. Eugene Adams' Sambo the Black God of Asia versus somebody who watched it on VHS or DVD. Although I was exposed to, again, the elder Dr. Eugene Adams by way of VHS tape. I didn't even know that he had a book, right? Be it paperback or whatnot. This is the grassroots, conscious community. Some people had books that, weren't nowhere near a Barnes and Noble, you know, and at the time, it was a lot of brothers and sisters on a, do it yourself, entrepreneurship type things. So, it wasn't unusual to get a very good piece of literature that was paperback, right? The budgets that some of the popular authors may get who may write what various novels based on fiction or whatnot, like some Christopher Colombo type, I'm talking about? Some fiction, you know.
Yeah,
They get the budgets and the investors or whatnot, on some Oprah type shit. But with this information is very different. And being that that's what it is, it's different. Some of the things, well, hell, 90% of what we may discuss this evening hasn't been heard. And if you have heard it, again, 9 times out of 10, you heard it out the mouth of somebody regurgitating it. So they're taking it and, molding it to their narrative. You know what I'm talking about? So it causes a rift and a separation in between what we're attempting to make cohesive, right? Which causes the stagnation because, again, when you hear brothers and sisters speak about indigenous, aboriginal, autochthonous, I never heard any set within a conscious community, even at the grassroots level, use those terms outside of Moors, right? So now that we have the internet age, you know, I'm talking about this technology or whatnot, we
Yep. Yep.
have a younger minor class who are coming in and they're dictating what is and what isn't, and they're ignoring the very foundation that they're standing upon, those who preceded them with this information, right? I've seen it's jacked up. You know what I'm talking about? To be honest, I'm gonna be real honest. I'm gonna be real frank. We can address some of the trials and errors that happen within the various um different sets of the Washitaw Nation. Because again, you have the mother, which is the empire, Washitaw DW Manya, right? Then you have Unity Washitaw. Then you have United Washitaw. You understand? So once the Empress Verdiasi, peace be upon her, once her health began to decline, you know how it is. You get the scavengers, you get the shysters, you got someone over here who may be charging $35 for documents, and they're actually not charging you. What that is the filing fee with whatever county or whatever you're doing, right? Whoever you're putting on notice concerning your proclamations and declarations and affidavits and things of that nature concerning your nationality, your birthright, your sovereignty. Because this, again, is the root of this movement. These movements weren't based upon how to avoid being, kidnapped. Although that is a large portion of it, that's not originally what amped people to even listen to or follow some of the teachings. Again, that was coming from Washitaw, right? From the nation of Washitaw, right? As well as the activism. A lot of people talk, but how many times have you been out of the country dealing with the affairs of your people, right? It's one thing to express that you are indigenous to this mother plane versus to actually be active with that birthright, right? And then a lot of people fake the funk. What do I mean when I say fake the funk? You get people who will minister to the people and tell the people, look, this document and that document and what these corporations, i.e., state of California, state of Nebraska, state of Virginia, can and can't do to you, right? And this may be a fact, right? But you know how we deal with facts within this English language, right? This may be a fact, but we neglect to mention to the people, well, I don't. I'll tell you in a minute. You're dealing with criminals, right? You cannot expect criminals to honor law. Therefore, I don't go into any of their venues, I'm talking about, expecting them to honor law or honor my sovereignty. Now, don't get it twisted. I demand it. I've demonstrated that. You know what I mean? That's documented. I've demanded it. But again, these people are criminals. First of all, they are, in many situations, forcing us in to do business with them, right? And due to the fact that we lack, what they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Like, who made that? Excuse me. Who made that statement?
Yeah, some real
Who created
swindlers.
that quote?
Some extortionists, some master extortionists.
Yes, yes. Therefore, when you come into this particular territory that they don't hold any ownership to, and again, I'll state it again now, I don't know where everybody is with this, but with me, being that I am not just with nature or a part of nature, Without nature, we don't exist, right? We don't have
That's it.
any existence without it. And based on the customs and cultures of our ancestors, nobody owns land, right? You inherit the estate and you are the caretakers of it. You take care of it and it take care of you in return, right? Your resources and agriculture and all other big, you know what I'm talking about? Fancy scientific terms, the photosynthesis and
Yeah.
synthesis. You know what I'm saying? You take care of it and it take care of you,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
So this attitude of owning the earth, like, you know what I mean? This is like some, not to say
Hmm.
that our ancestors weren't territorial, you understand, but by all right, this is my clan. This is the land of my clan. You understand? And you are a foreign invader on the land, right? So, when we start talking about 13 colonies and colonists and conquistadors and things like this and that, very well to this day, they still fit that description, right? So, they are American shit, and y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the pale faces, right? These people who have these businesses, very well, the state of Florida is a business, right? Call it a corporation, a cartel, or whatnot, but they a business. They have a charter proving that, and they doing business, right? Again, I don't have we don't have, unfortunately, the military might to fight them in a particular manner, right? But at the same time, they don't have the right to force us into doing business with them. This is really the root of a big issue that we have as a people, with being able to not just acquire wealth but maintain it, right? And when I say wealth, I'm not, you know what I'm saying, solely speaking about some Federal Reserve notes or some fiat or whatever you want to call it, promissory notes or whatever you want to call it, right? Legal tender.
Hey,
Why I
hey,
gotta
I ain't gonna
why
lie, sis.
why I gotta
Hey,
have so many different names?
hey, I'm glad you're here for that because, man, like the people that I deal with that really follow my channel, like they caught up. But it's the other half, like the new people. They probably never heard those terms before. Like they don't even know that they can associate those terms with money, like a promissory note. I'm not sure if everybody caught up with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like you be just dropping jewels so fast, so mean that we don't realize we have to go over it. Like those were baby steps for a lot of people, you know. But we be flying. You definitely take flight, and you know what I'm saying. The jewels just coming. So I hope they can keep up.
Pretty much. Well, I'll just briefly speak about my introduction to Washitaw. Um, by me being involved in the arena of the hip hop entertainment industry, BG from Cash Money, he actually lived in Detroit for a nice minute, and he recorded a lot of tunes with a brother up here by the name of Kidd, and he was around. He was on 7 Mile a lot, even I'm talking about on 8 Mile and other areas or whatnot. And I heard him speak, briefly about um Washitaw, period. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm,
he's dropping other terms that are more familiar to us, like Cherokee, Creek, right?
mhm,
Seminole, again, which I say does not mean runaway, right?
mhm.
And this is maybe 2000, right? So that's a little bit of information. And, it really didn't come full circle until Hurricane Katrina occurred, right? Now, this is some other fun facts for you. If you know anybody who, is in the NO, y'all are familiar with terms like Pontchartrain, right? Now I'm up here in Detroit. That's how you say it in French. It's Detroit. You don't say Detroit, you say Detroit. We have not just a street called Pontchartrain, but a whole plaza, right? Antoine D. Cadillac, excuse me. Antoine D. Cadillac. No GM Cadillac. That is the founder of what they call Detroit, right? Antoine Cadillac. Now, if you look this up,
Wow.
1703 is the year that the city of Detroit was founded. At that time, and it was founded by, again, Antoine Cadillac. At the time, he was the governor of Louisiana, right? So when we look at that Louisiana purchase and they try to pinpoint a particular territory, it's more vast than you could imagine, actually. For the first of all, the city of Detroit, because we're gonna look at Michigan, and you're gonna say, okay, so you're trying to tell me that Michigan was a part of Louisiana? This is something I cannot prove, but what I can prove is that Detroit was, and I can prove again by way of charter, Detroit was founded in 1701, is it 1703? One or the other, right? The state of Michigan wasn't founded and established and didn't receive a charter till like 18 whatever the fuck, which is a long way away from 1703 or 1701. So you have to start putting pieces of the puzzle together. But again, during post Hurricane Katrina is when, for me, everything came full circle, because I actually began to link up with brothers and sisters who were claiming that they were Washitaw and they were ills and bays. Why are you a ill and a bay? People want to know, why are you a ill and a bay? Moors are either ills or bays. Nobody is a ill and a bay. Nobody's a Ali. Nobody's a day. What is this? Well, I'm going to tell you, like, peace be upon him, my teacher told me, and peace be upon her, Empress Verdiasi told us all. Those are titles of nobility, right? The ill, the bay, the day, which connects you directly to the land, right? Which, again, the colonists, according to their constitution, they weren't allowed to have any title of nobility. Zero, none. Why? Because this is not their homeland. This is not the land of their foremothers and forefathers. So, we try to acquire all of the titles of nobility. I'm a ish, I'm a she, a ill, a bay, all of them. Why would I not be? Most y'all more familiar with the term a lodial title versus a title of nobility. And typically, some of the scholars will bring up the Turks. Those are Turkish terms, and you're wearing a Turkish tarboosh. And hold on, again, when we start talking about that fez or that tarboosh, that's a sign of royalty and nobility, right? So how you
Yep.
gonna
Yep.
say
Every
it's not
headdress.
ours?
Every headdress there is. Yep.
Indeed, I agree. I
Yep.
agree, but
Yeah.
our
And,
people
and some
start
of
thinking
some are
about
being overlooked.
masons. Yeah, unfortunately. But it took me a
For sure.
minute to actually get a direct connection, to the Empire of Washitaw. Although many of the dignitaries, again, were here in Detroit. The Empress has nieces and nephews here in Detroit, right? But it was, I just put it to you like this. Again, the infiltration didn't stop, with peace be upon them, Malcolm and Martin, or peace be upon them, Huey P. Newton. You know what I'm talking about?
That's
The
for sure. For sure.
infiltration didn't stop there. It continued on. So, plants and what y'all call them, agents and people with their own arterial motives or whatnot.
Yep.
Agent provocateurs. Thank you. There were even, it was some violence had taken place prior to me getting involved. But from here to Florida, from here to actually to Tampa, I could not get anybody to name a name. You understand? So, and then the name that was being given, was being denied that this was the individual that did a certain thing, and it was being denied directly from the Empress son. You know what I'm saying? So what can you do with that? You know what I'm saying? Is you can't. There's nothing I could do with that. I just put it like that. But I'm open for questions or whatever, because again, there were a lot of trials and errors that took place within the movement. So everything wasn't 100, and I would be the first to admit that, where many will never admit it. There was some errors made even within some of the literature, right? But again,
Exactly.
what you cannot take away, you can't take away poverty point, right?
Yep.
You can't take away the ancient waters in the ancient land. You can't take away the mounds. There's nothing you can do with that. Nothing. You can't. Most of what was brought forth by way of Washitaw was right and exact. And if it had not been, we wouldn't have so many duplicates of that very same movement with brothers and sisters, directly connecting themselves to North, South, and Central America and the adjoining islands, right?
Yep.
This,
Hey,
this
see.
is the movement that popularized it.
hmm Yeah, like people not giving credit to the elders. You know what I mean? Like that's definitely what you are doing. But like you say, they will literally fashion and model their movement in the same manner that the Empress did, and then discredit the Empress or never give honor. You know, and that's not Moorish. So I guess that's why they say they're not Moors. Because a lot of people don't ascribe to nobility. Nowadays, these people don't even ascribe to books. So, to me, it's like a form of having artificial intelligence. If Google is gives you all your mental gymnastics or your all your evidence or your facts, then you have artificial intelligence. You know what I mean? It's like you say, it's regurgitation. It's just your Google's regurgitator more so, what I'm saying, than anything else. So we giving credence to the real living beings, the real elders, the real leaders, our real ancestors. And that's definitely Empress Verdiachi. And even this sister right here, Sister Toy is a pillar. That means she ain't never going nowhere. She been here for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I advise y'all to get to know her, basically. And like the sister say, she taking questions on my channel, her channel, wherever y'all may be. Sis, you still with me, right?
My bad. I muted my mic while you were talking. But what I was saying was, it took a minute in order to get a direct connect to some official Washitaw dignitaries. You know what I'm saying? As far as a actual chief, an actual clan mother, um, looking to nationalize by way of Washitaw. It took a minute, and even some of the avenues that I was plugged to, I didn't feel like that was the proper route. So it wasn't until 2008 that I learned that my brother, Dr. El-Bey, was a chief within the Washitaw, right? So, he made his way up here, and that still wasn't the route that I chose. I ended up going with one of the elder chiefs, peace be upon him, Chief Secor, which was one of the elders of the council who sat directly next to the Empress, right? And eventually, after, being I want to say, I'll just say for someone that was of my age, I was a very heavy influence on the people locally. So, I was given a position of a dignitary, right? I started off as an assistant clan mother, and at the time, to my understanding, for in order for you to be a clan mother, you had to be of a certain age, which I was not, so after that, I received a couple of other delegation of authority orders by way of two different Washitaw sets, right? Of the same, but these particular two different Washitaw sets didn't have any issue with one another. And again, I just kept hearing about, I just kept asking about Aline or what the situation was. Oh, what happened? We dropped. We dropped. All right, we don't have to take care of that situation. But um that's something I don't, talk a lot about. But again, like I said, it took a minute, and from there, I began to peace God. I began to
Yep. Yep.
build with Yamasi Muskogee, and you will notice that a lot of brothers and sisters who are high-ranking dignitaries within Washita begin to gravitate to Yamasi Muskogee. Now, keep in mind, when you do the research on Yamasee as well as Washita, you will see that these two clans are of one blood, right? So again, with
Exactly. Yeah. I'm glad. See, I'm
under
glad.
the guidance of Chief Hidden Eagle, who was in Tampa at the time,
Wow. Come on
um,
now.
he
Come on
began
now.
to build with Joe. That's the Empress son, and there was at the time, again, the Empress wasn't in good health, so they had a sitting queen mother by the name of Fayola, Queen Mother Fayola. And of course, I'm up here in Detroit, so again, there were a lot of concerns about some of the alleged incidents that happened. You know what I'm saying? Up here, as well as I wanted to know what the issue was with my brother Dr. Liam El-Bey being um his name was being thrown around by some of the elders, you know what I'm saying? But it was in like a jealous type fashion, and I couldn't
Yeah.
understand this is coming from elders. Now keep in mind,
Exactly.
I'm gonna
I know
say
what you mean.
this too. Nobody was saying that directly to me. It's other elders coming to me, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
just telling me certain things. So long story short, the closest I could get to the Empress is her son, is and would be the Queen Mother sitting in her place. So I had the opportunity to have a conversation with them while they were with came to visit with Chief Hidden Eagle in Florida or whatnot. And he promised me that, he would have them call me when they got there. And again, they contacted me, and the conversation brought about some light to some of the errors that were made, right? And even until this day, there's is a split, which rightfully should have never happened. But you have people who are set in their ways and want to deal with the federal government in a particular way. Then you have other brothers and sisters like myself who don't. Why would we want to revisit that, right? We see what happened the first time. So if you don't know, my recommendation to you is there are 3 books, right? Everybody, if you don't know, you should be familiar with Return of the Ancient, the book The Return of the Ancient Ones by Verdiasi herself. Then you have We Are the Washitaw by Dr. Umar El-Bey. And
Shabazz
then you
Bay.
have
Yep.
one
The
of the New
real,
World Order
the real
books
Dr.
by
Umar.
way. Mhm.
Yeah, the real Dr.
Yes,
Umar.
yes, the protege of peace be upon him, Khalid
Yeah,
Muhammad.
yeah,
Y'all
yeah,
heard
yeah.
Khalid Muhammad say he a Moor. He know he a Moor. You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly. Hey, I ain't gonna
So
lie. I
all of
recently
that
had
was
the
cohesive
hey,
back then. We weren't having all these problems we having today.
I recently contacted Dr. Umar, and we're gonna set something up. I'm gonna get him on the show. You know what I mean? It's going down
That's what's up.
for sure. But
Indeed.
what you was saying, you just said it was the three. I think I just stopped you in the middle
Yeah.
after you named two,
Again. Yeah.
three
Yeah.
books. You said it. Yeah.
Return of the Ancient Ones by the Empress. Then you have We Are Washitaw by Dr. Umar. And then you have the first New World Order book by Dr. Aleem El-Bey. You know, so
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this is a collage of not just literature, but ancient. Well, I ain't gonna say ancient, but older maps and ancient sites and some firsthand accounts. You know what I'm talking about, as well um as far as source reference or whatnot. The three books that I just named.
Yeah. Them four.
Once you read them books, I'm gonna need you to look at the dates, right? Because once you read them books, you're gonna say, well, this is what everybody is saying now. But what I want you
Yeah.
to do is look at the dates of the books. You know what I'm talking about? So when I say this is the foundation that all of you people who out here yelling at you indigenous, aboriginal, or talking this Americans, you must pay homage. You understand? And if you're not willing to do that, the least you can do is not be disrespectful, because it makes you look incompetent. Because the world knows what the work that this woman put in. The world knows about this woman's bloodline, right? But we have to be honest about some of this hate. You know what I'm talking about? We have to be honest about some of this hate. And what I'm saying is, I recently had an elder who is a Moore Science Temple of America Moore jump on it had to be an old post or an old picture or something like that, and dragged the Empress. You know what I'm talking about? And you know me, usually I will go off on you. I just simply blocked dude. But I downloaded some of his photos before I did it. You know what I'm talking about? So now
Yeah. That real. That real. That real.
real talk. Cause how
That
am
was
I
the
supposed
only
to
thing
respect
good.
that?
Yeah. 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 That's the type of video you put on mute and you can enjoy at least the pictures. You know.
Mm-mm. Yeah, yeah. But like I say, it's been a journey, and you don't lose the lessons. You know what I'm saying? You can't take that from any of us. You don't lose the experiences. Like you were just talking about one of the few, court dates or whatever, where I had to actually go in and deal with these people who I don't want to do business with. And just based off of the experience of going into their courtrooms and doing what we call standing on your square. Who has a claim, and you know what I'm saying? All of this other verbiage that we, became very familiar with, being that we didn't want the ignorance of the law to be an excuse and get us kidnapped or get me robbed or get me sexually assaulted and held for ransom. You know, they practices haven't changed much. Shit is still the same. But I was fortunate enough to have one of the best teachers, barring none. So, I've yet to meet anybody who, was fortunate enough again to have Bobby, peace be upon him, as a influence. I'll just say it like that, from the best. Even the elder
Hey,
Toy-Tamir Bay will tell you about my teacher. You know what I'm saying? So
see, I want them to know exactly who you're talking about because people when they hear Bobby, they think Bobby
they
Hemmett.
thinking him it.
Is- yeah, they think of Bobby Hemmett as the top
Nah,
dog. You know,
I'm talking
like
about Bobby Ill. Bobby Ill, I'll give you some
mhm.
history on my teacher. My teacher, Bobby Ill, was the student of Sensei Jaco. Sensei Jaco, if we was on the phone with a bunch of entertainers, they would know exactly who I'm talking about. Sensei Jaco, first of all, let me say this before he passed, peace be upon him. He held the highest ranking black belt sensei in the world, not just in Chicago, not just in Illinois, but in the world. That means the Asians, all of these various different nationalities of people bow to this man's feet. Sensei Jaco is the father of Lupe Fiasco, right? This is
Damn.
my teacher's teacher. His other
And
teacher was our boy Dwight York, right? So those two influences, along with the Empress and Noble Drew Ali and just about any other scholar of his caliber, you know what I'm saying? Like he sat with these people.
wow.
Now fun fact: Lupe Fiasco is a February the 16th baby, just like me. That's two. Number three, 216, 2+1 + 6 = 9. My teacher's wife. So that's three Aquarius is 216. So you can just imagine the energy, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
But yeah, those
Understood.
were my, direct influences or whatnot. And again, everybody, just everybody that I named, even who you named, Bobby Hemmett, everybody loved Bobby Ill. You know what I'm saying? My teacher, he, he wasn't. Now I meant to say this. Sensei Jaco passed before Bobby Ill did. So when Sensei Jaco passed over, Sensei Jaco title went to my teacher automatically, right? And during these ceremonies, you had people like a Wesley Snipes and on and so on and so forth. Now those who are in the know that Wesley Snipes was dealing with the Nubian nation of Moors or was nationalized by way of them. But again, it would be no Nubian nation of Moors without the empire Washitaw Manya. Period. Period.
Yep.
That information was nowhere in that catalog
Hmm.
until, you know what I'm saying?
That's
Until
real.
he began to get this information about being York and Old York and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Y'all start pulling out the coats of arms and showing the Yorkshire Empire over in Europa. See how he
Hmm.
connected his bloodline that way as well.
Hmm.
These was fully melanated people. These just wasn't no swarthy people. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I
Yep.
think there's a difference. I can be wrong. I got the Edda man on the line. He can answer this question for me, can't it?
I mean, nowadays they like it's a big distinction between what swarthy is and was. It did mean the darkest of dark, but nowadays, they just associate it with dark hair or like a dark white. Like, white people literally got other whites they call dark whites. You got the pale people that
Mm,
can never, ever, ever get a tan, and you got the ones that are just darker than them, and they look at them as swarthy, but they're not swarthy
mm.
to us, and they
Thank
weren't
you.
swarthy to
That's
the
all I
ancients.
needed to hear.
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger. I'm just
yeah.
saying. I'm merely saying Schwarzenegger because I recall Arnold was on either Jay Leno or something like that, long, long, long time ago, and or he probably was on Arsenio Hall show. Knowing me, I've been this way my entire lifetime. You know what I'm saying? I doubt if I was sitting up watching Arnold on Jay Leno or some shit. But
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean.
anyway,
Yeah,
long
yeah.
story short, he was asked about his name, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he say no. that's not how you pronounce it. It's pronounced Arnold Schwarzenegger. Specifically, now he could be lying. He could be lying his ass off. I have no trust, no love. Right? He could very well have been lying, but I'm just saying this is what he said. How do I get this off the screen?
Yeah. He's a swarthy nigga coming from swarthy niggas. You know what I mean? But obviously he's not that no more. But he is what they consider nowadays to be swarthy, because these are the people that came from a little bit of more, to the point that they always gonna have a tinge or a tan to their skin. But yeah,
A
that's
little
also
bit,
the
because
reason.
the sun ain't
That's
killing them no more.
Yeah, that's also the reason he's so buff. Because he got a little bit of that nigga. He come from swarthy stock in the past. You know what I mean?
Nagas.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
I ain't gonna lie. Like,
Look here, I got a question for you. You know what and
go ahead.
I can make it not be off topic. Yeah, I could keep it on topic, but then I had to bring
No, we good.
other L scholars and what they had said. Now, but I don't want what they had said. I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, we started talking about the Vedas and the dark Vedas and the Hindi and the Sanskrit or whatnot. So I recall the elders saying that it was the pale people or the Eurasians or the troglodytes or whatever you're gonna call them, them mixing with the East Indians. Now I'm not talking about the actual original ones or the ones who predate them, whether you want to talk about the Twa or the Dravidian and all of this and that. I'm talking about the ones who have the largest population of hermaphrodites, right? They're saying that these pale people mix with these East Indians and Hindustan, I'm talking about, and created the people who carry the 47 chromosome, which we call today Manchurians, or the Chinese, Japanese, or whatnot.
Hey,
now I
ain't gonna
can't
lie. I wish
prove
you'd have
this.
been here
I'm just
last.
asking. I've read many things. I'm just asking an expert.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I was just touching on them 5 root races last night, and what you just said is so deep. Like it really carries all the way into the 3rd root race, those Lemurians. That Lemurian race were hermaphrodites. They were half animal, like the lower half might be animal, like the Vedoma people who have ostrich feet. You know what I mean? I mean, you got a propensity to create albinos. You got all of that coming out of that region of the world. So they definitely fit the criteria of being an older world people. Like definitely like that Lemurian race. Africans are more so it's a lot of parts of Africa that do fit like a 4th race, like the 4th root race. When they started being just androgynous, but they were still older stock of people. And then you got a lot that's on the west coast of Africa and over here in America, that's that Atlantean stock, which is that 5th root race, which is what we are. But we know that the world's supposed to be going into a 6th root race, because now they're combining again. You know what I mean? All this miscegenation, all this loving of the world is kind of creating something new that we've never seen before. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be that. Like basically the old scientists would have put it around about 25,000 years, but I don't think it takes that long. But definitely in that amount of time, like it'll be probably inevitable. That's what they're saying. But yeah, those people still exist. Like when we saying these 3rd, 4th, and 5th root races, it's still around, but they're trying to wipe all of that out and push it towards a 6 root race. You know what I mean? But as of right now, we just don't understand that we still looking at ancients. You know what I mean? We're looking at a lot of different ancient stock of people. And they're trying to basically eradicate that and push everybody towards this modern man with the flat skull. You know what I mean? All of that kind of stuff. That's some good information right there. I never heard of the
I'll just say like the additional chromosome and the recessive genes, and I'm just saying, consider the fact again that these people are the largest population of people who are hermaphrodites, right? And another thing, my teacher used to say, it ain't what he used to say, is what he used to do, actually. You know what I'm saying? I was saying, and we have here in Detroit, well, actually Dearborn, we have the largest population of what they have labeled Arabic Americans, American Arabs. I don't know how you say it, but long story short, he would talk to them real bad. You know what I'm saying? He would tell them they don't speak classical Arabic, and he would speak Arabic and Hebrew and Aramaic and all kind of shit, and just make them look ridiculous. But he will also tell them that they're not Arabs, that they are East Indians. This is what he used to say. And he used to also tell me, his daughter, and any other woman that he cared about, don't mix with them. Don't mix with them. You know they homophobites and all kind of. Bobby had you jacked up. For real.
See, watch this. See, we got the wool pulled over our eyes to the point we think everybody's the same. But if we understood these root races, and we understood how these doctors operate, what are these doctors gonna do if a person is born with a tail, with a vestigial tail? They're gonna cut it off so that we never know that this person is of Lemurian stock. This person has an animal lower half. Like maybe even the 6th toe type of thing. I'm just saying, like, they cut these vestiges and these things off so that we don't have the an inkling of idea. And even if well, I ain't gonna lie, if everybody had all those body parts, then we would, really understand. We'd be like, hold on, is that many hermaphrodites? Hold on, is that many people born with tails? Hold on, is that many people with 6 toes, 6 fingers?
When you have brothers and sisters that work within the medical field, work at these hospitals, work at DMC and Hutzel Hospital and all these different hospitals around here, who were Bobby students, and you hear they testimony, what they say about you know what I mean?
Yep.
What's many babies be coming out? How they be coming out? Man, this is one sister that was from New Orleans that relocated to Detroit after Hurricane Katrina. And she told us a whole bunch of stuff. I just put it like that. She's a nurse, so she's there. She gets introduced to, because again, my teacher is a sensei. You know what I'm saying? He is a martial arts teacher at the same time. So, they're coming there basically to get information on how to fight various cases that they had. You know what I'm saying? So Bobby is teaching everything. So when he gets to where he's showing you the pictures of the babies born with the tails and the East Indians and all of this other stuff, you would get nurses and doctors standing up giving testimony. Like they didn't, think anybody else knew about this shit. I say people who, you know what I mean, don't read, didn't know.
Yep. Hey, that's why we always say the truth is stranger than, the truth is stranger than fiction. That's for sure.
Sometimes it's just clear as day, and it's so clear that, people don't want to accept it. They say it can't be that simple. Yeah, it was that simple. It's just really right there in your face the whole time.
Yep.
Mm-mm. Yep. I just really wanted to know. Is this true? Is this how they ended up with 47 chromosomes? That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
And are these the same people who, came across the Bering Strait and, came to the realization in order for them to, no, we came to the realization in order for them to survive on this land, we have to give up that blood. We have to let them amalgamate. We have to let them mix in with us, right? Because if we don't, they not gonna survive, right?
Exactly.
And that's very reason a few of these so-called different types of people can survive up under that sun right now without dying. I'm not talking about a slow cancerous death. I'm talking about like vampire-ish. You seen the vampire movies where they just sizzle and like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You ever
On God.
seen, like you was mentioning, some of them can tan, but it's a portion of them that cannot. You ever seen the ones that can't come out in the sun without the big blue blockers on?
Exactly. I ain't lying. I know what you mean. Like
I
they
grew up
pure
right
white.
down the street from one. I've
Yep.
never
Look like
seen that woman without them. She didn't live to be in her 60s and 70s either. You know what I'm saying? She didn't live as long as the husband, and the children lived. They could come outside without the big blue blockers on when the sun is out, but she couldn't come outside. I never saw her in the daytime without them. I never seen her at nighttime. Period. Goddamn, it was the neighbor or whatever, but yeah, them big blue blockers, and they always used to explain to me, what her condition was. But I had a mother, you know what I said, and my mother simplified what the fuck her condition really was. Like the sun don't like her. Period. Period. It seems as though the sun seeks to destroy,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
particular
vampires.
bloodline or whatnot.
Yep. Yep.
You could
Them
just see
vampires.
directly through their skin,
Yep.
through their
See
skin
all
to
they
all of they,
veins.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. I know what you mean. Just transparency. Ain't nothing going on. Like they know that's why pale is associated with sickness, sickly, pale, wan, sickly looking,
Leopard.
it's all the same. Yeah. Lepers, yeah, leprosy. For real.
Yeah.
Like that was a great question though, because I ain't lying. What I just went over last night was like able to help cap that off for me too. Refreshing. Like all of us have looked at this all this information, but it's so much information. And then you have to come back to that information, what I'm saying, with a fresh mind time and time again. And doing that, what I did refresh on those 5 root races to the point that I see exactly, what I'm saying, what the answer for that question. It was like, whoa, this is really what's going on. This is wild. It ain't even wicked. This is really wild. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
A lot of things they always call mythology. They would have taught us that that's mythology. Like just period. We always wondered why certain species of people were just hairy as hell. You know what I mean? I mean, like, what the hell is going on? So all of those things raised eyebrows to me all my life.
Fur puppies.
Yeah.
The fur. And happy Friday the 13th for everybody. We only gonna have one more this year in October. One more Friday the 13th.
I like that. Yep. Happy Friday the 13th. That's my day. I'm born on the 13th.
So
for sure.
You might have been born on a Friday. You did.
I was.
Okay.
Like, ain't that crazy though? Like, ain't that crazy to come out in all blood on Friday the 13th?
Man, that is heavy.
Big blessing. You
Heck
know what I
yeah.
mean? For real. Because
No.
that 13th is a Christ. Like, people scared of stuff like that for some reason. You know? But definitely.
Crown
Like the
jewel.
13th. Yeah, it's the crown jewel. It's that cornerstone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why people gotta definitely, like, put it like this. I feel like this new age Aboriginal community, they gotta stop following the leader. You know, I don't even want to say dude name. You know, he's the head of the
It's
Indian
a few of
community.
them.
Yes, a few on, but
At
I'm just
least
saying.
two. It's at least two main cats.
Okay, but you know who I'm saying though. You know, like if you saying two, I think the other one not even black make it so bad. You know what I'm saying? He's not even one of us. You know, but what I'm saying is these people have always discredited the Washitaw. Like, how, like, that's the most disrespectful thing I could think of for somebody to come in this movement and to not even acknowledge the Washitaw. They're like the Washitaw don't exist, and if they do, they'll regurgitate what their leader said. My leader said, "Y'all ain't
I'm
nobody."
gonna tell you. Look, I'm gonna tell you just how they start off. They start off with um yeah, those Moors or those Washitaws, they were making their own plates, or they took the address off the house, so they went and took over a house and don't do that and blah blah blah. And after they talk shit for about 2 years, all of a sudden they selling the same processes. That's how that
Same
shit goes.
same thing. I ain't lying. They're like,
They
"Wow,
start they
this
start
is new."
inking literature that's similar to the Return of the Ancient Ones and We Are the Washitaw, and I'm talking about. They give
Yep.
you the same fucking information, copied and pasted. It has a
Mhm.
source. Again, like I always say, go to the source. It's a
That's
big
right.
difference in between somebody approaching me with a bunch of with a status correction package that's based on nationality and trying to charge me either thousands or more than 350, we'll just say, because you know what I mean, a lot of people willing to pay 350. In today's time, the difference in between 350, 500, and 5,000. Remember, people were paying $5,000 for a John Snow package back when this information first came to me originally in 2001. As far as the commercial presentments, I'm not talking about the historical aspects of our ancestors. I'm talking about again, these packages with status correction and you utilizing the Uniform Commercial Code, financial statements, a UCC1 and a UCC3, and the Cease the Trust or SESDK Trust. These were documents that we were filing all the way back then, and again, when you take the law and you take history and I'm speaking specifically over here in the Americas, and you combine that shit, you'll be able to see through all type of shit. Understand? Because I don't know what we were discussing, but I named thing that has like 6 different fucking names. Why would you do that? Well, if this was a business, if you created policies or acts and codes in order to force people into doing business with you, you're going to continue to create millions of them motherfuckers, which is what they have did, which is how they have actually held us in captivity. We hear it all the time. The pen is mightier than the sword. You understand? But then this very same cartel or corporation or even country, if you will, their might and strength is not solely based upon their wealth. It's based upon their military might, which goes back to the fact that we are up under military occupation. They are not claiming to own this land. You know what I mean? They are on this land based off of military occupation as well as business. What the fuck is a colony? What's the difference in between a colony and a state or a nation state. Because remember, the states were sovereign at first. Don't they have their own individual constitutions? Isn't it a fact that Alabama and some of these other southern states never ratified the 13th Amendment and all this other shit? Is this not a fact? Is it not a fact that the state of Rhode Island, that ain't even their fucking name? That is the Providence, Rhode Island Plantations is the official name of that entity, right? It's a lot of shit. And then I discovered another state that has like a plantation name to it, and it's just now being petitioned to change its name. But then what are you going to do with all the court buildings that say that this is a province plantation? Right here in 2023. That's more than enough reason for us to separate. What I mean by separate is this. Again, I recognize the fact that we don't have the military might and we don't have the unity that we need in order to go to physical war, right? But we do have some tools in order to put us in a position to where some of the, just for example, peace be upon him, Gaddafi was trying to give the Nation of Islam like $200 million or some shit, right? And Bush or somebody stopped that shit, right? Now, boom, when you take away that 501c3 or you know what I'm talking about, and all these other contracts that you have with these people,
then you can do
there
big
are
business.
you would not tell Gaddafi that he couldn't get a Cherokee Nation $200 million. You cannot do that. The same way you cannot come on Cherokee land, officer whoever from the city of Los Angeles or FBI agent whoever, you can't come on Cherokee land and start fucking kidnapping people and holding them for ransom and robbing them and assaulting them and sexually assaulting them and extorting them. You know what I'm talking about? You can't do that. This is the same foundation that, peace be upon her, Empress Verdiasi set up. But again, you have, the movement was infiltrated. You had people working for the other side involved who got close, right? Some of the same things that we seen happen to, again, peace be upon them. I'm going to mention Malcolm and I'm going to mention Martin. I don't care if you call Martin Luther King, Michael Luther King. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? You hurt my feelings none. It doesn't take away from the fact for what he stood on. Whether you agree with it or not, he was willing to die for that shit. And many of y'all are not willing to die for nothing.
Hey, sis, watch this. Because I'm gonna give them both their credit, right? And it took me a long time to really see this great polarity, right? But Malcolm and Martin, right? We know the way they both started off was completely different. You know what I mean? Martin came up from like he arose that definitely grew from concrete. You know, like he went through the hardest, roughest, life, and it made him a mean, wise spirit. But then on the other hand, you had Martin Luther King, who probably had a better upbringing, and it was a better, smoother transition. And he came in wise, but very loving and open, right? And in the end of both of their times, it was the opposite, because all of a sudden, Malcolm was congregating with all walks of life. You feel me? And preaching way more peace. When in the very end, Martin had became way more a rebel.
Way more militant.
So than he had ever
Martin
been.
was like, "We coming to get our check."
Way more militant. Yep. It was he had really turned gangster, and they never saw it coming, because they finally tamed the beast with Malcolm. So to speak, because he was the guy with the chopper looking out the window. This Malcolm. But in the end, no. Malcolm was more like like Martin was in the beginning. And and Martin on the other hand, like Malcolm was. He had done been stabbed. He had been, spat on, beat on. Man, that man wasn't nobody nice no more. He had done switched up his game. He was way more tougher than people might give him credit. I ain't lying. But that's just the polarity of life. And like both of those guys were really needed at their time in history. Like we needed both of those guys to really they mirrored each other.
Indeed. As above, so below, yin and yang, God out there. Did Medgar Evers, peace be upon him, did he proceed? Yeah, he passed on before Martin did, right? So just think about it. Martin,
he was killed, but it was
Medgar
all around.
Evers, he faced Medgar Evers being murdered, and he faced Malcolm X being murdered. So of course he pissed the fuck off.
Yeah, he was the strongest one. And if that's how, the Grim Reaper said it. You know what I mean? Hey, and I ain't gonna lie, I want to give you your credit too, because like people don't use the term, but they got to get familiar with it. Because you definitely the author of saying that we are indigenous to this mother plane, and our people probably not familiar with those kind of terms, but that's really what it is, So the mother plane, I think you need to trademark that, you know what I mean? And I think the people need to get familiar with it.
Hit them with the Bob gun. People need to go listen to that. Hit them with the Bob gun. Parliament.
Man, they need to go listen to you on the microphone. I'm talking about this sister got bars. Like she ain't really even bragging on herself, but she was telling y'all that she's been in the music industry and rubbed elbows with everybody, and she chose to keep it real more than anything. But yeah, she got skills with with the best of them. Like if y'all know anything about the Alhambra Society, like we've been down for like at least 5 years on YouTube. So we throw back. Like we got a little intro or two together. I hope the brother play it for us. Tell my brother Amir, I hope he can slide that in before we get up out of here too. I'll find a way to play it. I think it's a game. I'm a sister soldier. That's effects. Going with all that rah-rah. Don't get me started.
He definitely gonna spin it before we get out of here. For sure. Sister soldier. Man. I had to throw her in around.
For sure. She deserves it. Like the people need to look up people like that. I'm pretty sure most people don't even know who Sister Soldier is. Like every day I meet people who don't even know who Dr. Francis Cress Welsing is. It's sad, it hurts. These people put in all this work for y'all, and you haven't even heard of their name. It's like they say Sandra Bland. Yeah. Legendary.
When I talk about paperback, the first time I seen an ISIS Papers book, it was in paperback. Grassroots, the grassroots lectures, grassroots conscious community. When we were the students, so to speak. Again, I mentioned it. I remember before Peace to the God Sinetta, before it was Sinetta TV. It was Kadar Productions. I used to say Kadar Productions back in the day, so we were getting these VHS tapes that eventually transformed into DVDs, with the help of myself and a few other people, as to where you didn't have to be in Harlem. You didn't have to be in Detroit. You didn't have to be in Tampa. You ain't have to be in Miami. You know what I'm saying? You could get the DVD, and for people to really get a complete inner and understanding of what I'm saying, every city has a Black Panther or a new Black Panther Marcus Garvey movement chapter within it, right? And I'm talking 1990s. Well, these were the places where you could go and purchase these VHS tapes, right? back in the day, long time ago for some of y'all. But for me, it kind of seemed like yesterday. You know, so we would watch these DVDs and watch these
Hey,
VHS tapes and sit down with your pen and your pad. You know what I'm
hey,
talking about?
sis. You know, I ain't gonna lie. I gotta ask you the same normal ass questions that these people like to hit us with. They hit everybody with these kind of questions. So I gotta ask you, since we Moors, they say Moors are always trying to push Africa on everybody. I'm asking, number one, you already said Washitaw Moor, so that should have answered a lot of things. But I just want to ask you, did we all come on a slave ship, sis?
I mean, that's. I mean, that is just. I'm trying to think of a word other than ludicrous, preposterous, false. I mean, again, if no people who carry recessive genes can predate us anywhere on this mother plane, how is that, our first arrival? There is no first arrival for us, for people who will always here. That don't make sense. And as we begin to have access to higher technology where there are primary sources, you know what I'm saying? Your references and you get into your primary sources or whatnot to where you can pinpoint hundreds and thousands of books and maps and you know what I'm talking about who speak of Mu and all of these different things that we discussed this evening. So you don't have to take anybody word for anything. When you learn that, uh, how many people knew 20 years ago that there were pyramids in the Americas? Let's just keep it a buck. Because 20 years ago, well, I'll say 21 years ago, whenever I thought of going to Mexico, well, I'm thinking of Acapulco and Cancun. I ain't think about Wahitawn and you know what I'm talking about. Got a question? What about Ania Wea? Yeah. Ania Wea, we the people, right? Ania Wea. I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't initially taught that Ania Wea meant Cherokee. That's not what I was taught. I was taught that Ania Wea was we the people. So people will begin to talk about 5 civilized tribes and Iroquois and Powhatan. I'm gonna give you how
Hey,
I'm gonna give it to you how it was taught to me. The same way we be at each other necks. You a Hebrew Israelite, and this brother over here is a Sunni Muslim or a Orthodox Muslim or something like that, and y'all all got beefs with one another. We've been having these beefs for I don't want to say eons, but I'm gonna say centuries, and maybe even eons. We've been having these beefs, right? So it was taught to me and even historically, even if you look at some of your American history books that you know what I mean, that we uh were forced to study, middle school, high school, or whatnot, college, right? You see various clans or tribes align with the French to fight against other tribes, right? Why am I mentioning this? Because when you start talking to me about some 5 civilized tribes, hold on. Do you know what you actually are saying? You talking about the ancestors who were willing to do business with the enemies. The same way today, I'm telling y'all, I don't want to do business with these people, but you like deep at my check. So you in the way, so you're gonna get rid of me. Because I'm telling you to stop doing business with your enemies who were the enemies of your ancestors who got wealthy off of murdering and robbing your ancestors, but you still want to do business with these people, right? So let's break it down. This is how it was taught to me. When y'all talk about power time, when I talk about power time, how it was taught to me, the Confederation or the Confederacy that was down with the power time was not fucking with the whites, man, right? But the Iroquois Confederation that consisted of some so-called civilized tribes, do I have to name them? Do I have? Because I
hey,
don't say
hey,
Cherokee. I say Kitawa. I don't say Cherokee. I say Kitawa. And when I say
hey.
Aniawea, I'm talking about the people, us.
Mm-hmm.
We the people, us. I'm talking about the great white roots of peace, the great roots, you know what I'm talking about? The original unwritten constitution that they stole from. That's what I'm talking about. So how they say that the friend of my enemy and the enemy of my friend, all this dumb shit that we start seeing inheriting, like those who know don't tell, and those who tell don't know. If you don't get the fuck out of here, you know what I'm saying? Now we talking about in an instance of somebody snitching and going to tell the policy enforcers and the alphabet gangs about something that someone else did. That's different. That ain't what I'm talking about when I say those who know don't tell and those who tell don't know. When we start following these various philosophies and shit like that, we are getting nowhere. Again, you have to check the source. It never crossed people's mind to ask, well, who's the author of that? Those who know don't tell, and those who tell don't know. Again, in some instances, that is the proper terminology. There's a place for that saying. But when we start talking about knowledge, that's not the place for that. It sounds like to me that you have, again, some ulterior motives, and you know what I mean, that you're trying to hoodwink the people. We don't deal with that. If I know,
hey, you know, the 5 civilized tribes, you know, me personally, I call them the 5 Christianized tribes.
There you go.
I mean? Stuff like that. Hey, and my homie PNF, he say there ain't no Indian that would debate you. He say thank you for all this information, for real. Yeah, they over here loving you on my channel, for real. All the comments, they loving you.
Sellouts on both sides, on all sides, and the enemy passing out diseases and shit because they over here eating dead bodies because they didn't have the science of purifying water and preserving food. So they over here digging up bodies and eating them and shit. And this is what gets me. Not only are they digging up bodies and eating them, but these bodies are their relatives. They all came over here together. And again, didn't have the science of purifying water or preserving food. So they were dying, starving to death, diseased, and all of this and all of that. So when one of them died, they bury him. This how fucked up these people is. One of them died, they bury him, right? And this is historical fact. I'm going to do a little TikTok video on this. They would dig the same relatives up, mother, wife, cousin, whoever it was, and eat them. And I'm not talking 1,000 years ago. I'm talking over here on these shores in the 1500s and the 1600s. These pale people was doing this shit. So somebody had to teach them the science of the purification of the water and the preservation of the food. Right? Somebody had to teach them about agriculture. Somebody had to. How the fuck is Benjamin Franklin making almanacs and shit? You got who was it, Benjamin Banneker or Benjamin Franklin? You can't tell me both of these motherfuckers was making almanac. There's no need for me to buy 2 different almanacs in 1772. You know what I'm saying? You think it's publishing presses? You know what I mean? To where, come on now. If Ben Franklin made the almanacs, the farmers' almanacs, then that nigga would have built the White House and all that shit too. Why he ain't do that too? Why he didn't construct a Big Ben clock? I'm just saying. Thieves.
Yeah, you killing them. You killing them. Hey, and this is her every day. I promise y'all. Like, y'all can check out an old video, a new video. Make sure y'all subscribe, you know, to the Alhambra Society 313. Like, they done made it hard to find. Like, this is the second time they had a channel. Like I say, we was doing this 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I would say go look up my Supreme Shock Etymology series. But, you know, they took the whole channel down back when it was popping, when they had all them thousands and thousands of subscribers. But, you know, they back on the climb. Y'all helped them get back to the 1,000 so they can go beyond that. Definitely subscribe to my sister. The Al, matter of fact, I'm gonna type it right here. The Alhambra Society 313.
A beer over here talking about 7,000, 7,000.
Yeah, it was at 7. It was at 7,000 when they took us down. You know, I'm saying us because hey, dude, I put in work too, man. You know.
Oh yeah,
Shoot,
for sure.
we was getting it in. We were getting it in. Shout out to Atlanta's Prime. You feel me? Y'all look out for all of that. That's the name of the jewelry company. You know, Atlanta's Prime.
Look, I'm about to show the people something too, right quick. A definite jewel. This comes directly from the Wayne State Law Library, Wayne State University Law Library. That's here in downtown Detroit, right? Well, mid downtown. Let me see. Take that down and come over here. Oh yeah, let me just bring it up first. So I'm gonna be looking at all these other people. Make it big. Okay. So when I say these people make up or have created millions of statutes, codes, policies, acts, amendments, I'm not calling them no laws. Every now and then I say laws just to generalize. It's never for a lack of a better word. Let me see. Hold on. Can I make it bigger? So as you can see right here, Title 28, you see the word judicial. And if you're familiar with going to the law library and, you know, doing your research and investigations, you know why this is a half page here. Because you have the other codes, like this is 841, Title 28, Section 841, right? Section 842. Oh, that ain't, I got to pull it up like that. Section 843. You can see it's highlighted, right? And this is, man, I'm telling you, I had the best teacher in the world. I'm going to try to told y'all. You don't know how many thousands of copies of this piece of paper have you can just look at the wear and tear of it. You know what I'm saying? So if you ever, let's get to the math first and then I'll brag a little bit. So right here, Section 843, imprisonment for debt. No person shall be imprisoned for debt in any state. Let's stop right there. Do you not know of brothers and sisters who have been kidnapped and held for ransom under the guise of suspended license, child support, jaywalking, all kind of dumb shit? And again, they have millions of these codes in order to keep with their attempts to keep our people in perpetual poverty, servitude. That too. But I have to mention the poverty because that has a lot to do with the mental unstable conditions that our people are going through, right? So again, imprisonment for debt. No person shall be imprisoned for debt in any state on process issuing from a court of the United States whereby the laws of such state imprisonment for debt has been or shall be abolished. Look at the word abolish, because I mess with this word. I say abolish and terminate, no, not amend, not what was some other words we was talking about 2-3 years ago, not what's some of the other little slick words that they use, like when they have to re-sign they little civil rights act and all of that shit every 25 years and they beef about it and all of that shit. Bitch, if you got to re-sign it, it ain't a law.
Exactly.
A law is a law. No, where am I? Man, it's been a minute since I even talked about this shit. I've been so focused on
amendments is definitely the key, the main word. I know that's
modify.
I know what you mean.
They modify shit. They don't like to abolish shit and terminate shit. They like to modify. And what's some other words? Yeah, revise and come on with some more. This type of shit that they like. When you see this word abolish, this is big. This is big. Again, imprisonment for debt has been or shall be abolished. That's some modifications, conditions, restrictions upon imprisonment for debt provided by the laws of any state shall be applicable. I say applicable to the process issuing from the courts of the United States to be executed therein, and the same course of the proceedings shall be adopted therein therein as may be adopted in the course of such state. And here they go with some more numbers. What's this? Discharge according to state laws. But see, when we discuss this shit, y'all say this is satire. How the fuck is this satire? And this came directly out of the University of Wayne State Law Library, which used to stay open until 11 p.m., even on Sundays. So Sunday evening in 2005 and 2004 and 2006, especially 2007 and 2008, you had a bunch of Washitaw Moors. You had a bunch of Great Seal Moors. We even had the goddamn Moors Science Temple of America Moors. You had your Massey Muskogee. You had what was Dr. York and them calling their Yamasee set, and then it was another Hebrew Israelite Yamasee set. Detroit was so deep, it was ridiculous. Just from Bobby Hemmett used to come to Detroit so much. There's no need for a hotel. You would think that's the most comfortable place to be, but when you plugged in, excuse me, with your people, and they taking care of you, and you feel safer with your people than you would in some hotel in the suburbs around a bunch of pale people. At least that's just me. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I don't feel, I don't feel safe. I don't feel threatened around my own, and I don't feel safe around theirs.
Exactly. That's real. Yep.
I don't subscribe to that shit about black people this and we don't do good business and all that. I can name a bunch of goddamn the Chili's, the restaurant called Chili's.
Yeah.
They served me a drink that had shard up glass from their blender in it. You call that good business?
Come on now.
I can name a bunch of so-called European franchises that did fucked up business, and I'm about to say this on the air. I'm gonna say this on the air. I ordered 2 pair of Grant Hills and what's the name of them other feelers? I don't know. Back in the day, these was, even though Grant Hills is still like 130, 140, some of them $160. It's another feeler shoe that was out prior to that back in the day that was like $100 gym shoe or tennis shoe or sneaker or whatever y'all call them. And again, I ordered this shit weeks ago and they still hadn't sent it. So, the company that I went through canceled the order and sent me my money back. Right? But Fila sent the shit out anyway. You know what I'm saying? So again, it wasn't good business for them to make me wait weeks for a product. I ordered that shit the 15th of December. What's the day? Foot Locker don't take that long. Kids Foot Locker don't take that long. Champs, nothing. Amazon definitely don't take that long. Don't take no whole month. When you done spent $200, $300, $400, $500 to send some shit.
Same week.
Send stuff $8. I'll get it tomorrow. So I don't know what they gonna do about their situation, because the product, it is what it is. They fuck up too. Because they didn't mess somebody else's money up. They didn't get the middleman, didn't get to make the money. And they about to be out some product. So thank you to the ancestors. Happy Friday the 13th.
Sis, I don't know how large you can blow that up. That image right there. Okay. If you could blow it up even larger. Because that's some juice.
It ain't gonna get bigger than that. There you go. So let me scroll up back to where it was at right here. And again, this is, what is this? Title 28, Section 843, imprisonment for debt. Right? And should I get, let me get my a shout out. This brother, we call him number one. This Bobby used to call him number one. And this cat, he was arrested at a young age for some shit that he wouldn't do. I mean, he didn't do. So as an adult, he do not play at all. At all. He hasn't they won't even get his brother a ticket. You see what I'm saying? For him to have to go to court like me and fight any damn thing. But yeah, this type of stuff right here, he did this all the time. I don't want to be at the law library every damn day, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, just based off of by way of Bobby again, peace be upon him, and that's Bobby Ill, Robert Bell Ill, Sensei Bell to more people than he is Bobby Ill, you know. Man, when y'all, hey yo, you remember Mr. T from Chicago, Mr. T, the world of gold, Cherry is what they call him.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Hey, I never knew he was from Chicago though.
Who?
Mr. T, I ain't even know that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now he, another student of Sensei Jaco, peace be upon him. You know what I'm saying? He used to do security for celebrities, and so did my teacher. You know what I'm saying? So you just put in your mind, and as much as no matter how I feel about what I feel about, just put in your mind a Dwight York doing security for celebrities, all in their ear, and they filling your pockets up because they loving everything that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, they doing business. They doing business, big business with their enemies, and they don't see a way out from that. In other words, they don't. At the time, they didn't have enough coins to put together to start their own distribution. And those who did have the coin to do it, they end up getting murdered. Name them Sam Cooke. Start there before we talk about anybody else. Before we mention anybody else, you start with Sam Cooke. Then you make your way down the list of those who attempted to put something major together and get their hand out our pocket, so to speak, in that aspect. Look at what happened to what was it, Jay Prince and Suge Knight and Irv Gotti, when they trying to come together to did Dame Dash have something to do with it too?
You say Dame
I don't
Dash?
know. I know
Yeah,
they were supposed to
yeah,
be trying to put together their
yeah.
own
Put that
distribution
man. Yeah,
company and
Jay
stuff like that.
Prince. Yeah, Jay Prince, Irv Gotti, and Dame Dash.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna put some extra people in there.
Maybe I did, but I thought for sure it was those three. I know it wasn't no Puff Daddy.
No, I said I put some extra people in there. I think I said Suge Knight too.
Oh no, I don't know. He might have been because he went down too. Like all of them went down. Like none of them are successful really, except for maybe Jay Prince.
Like Michael Jackson hit the overdose, but again, it was Sam Cooke first.
And I was just talking about the Trois last night, and then you just come with Detroit is Detroit. Like that's fire.
I spell it TWAH.
Yep. Nobody with recessive genes can predate us anywhere on this mother plane. Yeah, that's her sentence right there, for real. Them bars. I ain't lying. Like if you probably
that stop all the arguments. That should dead all the arguments. But again, we are starting over with the, exposure. So, it'll happen. It'll happen.
I ain't gonna lie, this been fired up. Let me check the chat. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. link in the chat. I put it up as a comment. People need to have that link so they can just tap on. But definitely, shoot, even in the comments section, make sure you come back on my side and leave a comment, because this was definitely a feature.
I didn't even share this on Facebook.
the
I just
princess.
shared it on YouTube. I ain't even put it up on Facebook.
Yeah, I missed my my schedule.
I never
So
post
they
on
kicked me off.
Instagram.
Yeah, you got to chop it up on Instagram. They're like TikTok. I mean, we could go live. I'd have to point it at the computer and all that stuff. You know how that goes.
Thought to watch that BMF.
But I ain't gonna. But
I don't know why people be fronting. You know what I'm saying? Talk about what that's all my children,
exactly.
one life to live. You know what I'm talking about? All of this shit. Even when the old boy Ye get up on the mic and start talking, you know what I mean? Be it satire, be it something from a strong political view, no matter what it is, you know, it's entertainment. You're looking at entertainers, right? Mimicking some real shit or attempting their version of something, depicting something that could actually happen, right? Nobody's trying to incriminate themselves.
Yeah, it's modern day allegories. You know what I mean? For real. So there is lessons to be learned from everything. I know what you mean. For real.
It's entertainment. If I'm gonna watch some entertainment, I'd rather watch my own.
Most definitely. Support that. Yep. That's like back in the days.
I'll watch that before I watch face.
Hey, that's like back in the days, what's happening? You know, what's happening in a different world. Even Cosby Show, you know, like all of them, you know, Family Matters and all of that. You know what I mean? Like, man, I supported all of that. Couldn't tell me nothing. For real. If anything, our kids
I
need.
guess it is a legit right. Not to want to see love and hip hop and all of that when we had all of that family oriented positivity back then. But again, you know, it's just another form of entertainment. If I can watch The Terminator and Rambo, I don't know why them the only two damn movies I keep mentioning. But you know, if I'm a look at that, you know, I have no problem looking at my own people. I act the damn fool to get a check because it's entertaining. I watch boxing, you know.
That's real.
There's different things. It's entertaining to me.
I was just gonna say, Khalid Muhammad said, "Ain't nothing wrong with movies." He say, "Let's start killing some white tees in the movie." You know what I mean? Like, you know, yeah. He's like, "Ain't nothing wrong with that." He say, "Hey, everybody liked the movies when they were killing us. Like, hey, let's do it to them. And what? Hey, y'all should love this. Damn it. You know what I mean? It's just a movie.
It'll never be another.
It's just a movie." Yep. That was a legend, man. For real. A real man. You know, Khalid Muhammad, man. For real. Ashe. Bobby L. Ashe. You know, all of them legends. You know, for real.
Khalid Muhammad Earth Day was yesterday.
And I did a video last year on his birthday. I slipped. I was supposed to did it again.
Yeah, I just look at my memories and share them.
Yeah, you know, man, you already know they kicked me off Facebook. You know, I ain't even know I cared until they kicked me out. I'm like, damn, why they do me like that? You know, at first I ain't care. And I'm like, man, and then I thought about it. Man, all that work I put in, all that knowledge we've been dropping all them years, you know, that's where the receipts at. The receipts on Facebook.
Oh, shit. All right. See, this is my second delegation. This the one that comes from Chief Stock Corps. Yeah, peace be upon him. He's an ancestor now. And that's
Chief
there. This
Minister.
gonna show, this This the first one. It's from Chief Akil Ali, my big brother. That's a big guy. You do not want him coming after you. Said, oh my God. Yeah, you don't want this one of them people once they get a hold of you. See the date, this 2008. And it took me some years to, get that DOAO, Delegation of Authority order. And yeah, this was Assistant Chief Clan Mother. They say you have to reach your moon state, which means, you no longer cycle in that way in order to be a clan mother. So 2008, 2023, I'm still not eligible because I'm not old enough. Depending on what tribe or what clan, that, you rock with and what territory. Northwest Territory.
Hey, anybody in the chat who respects that this sister been doing this for over the amount of time you see, because we see 2008 right there. That means this sister been doing exactly that longer than that. Man, y'all put salute in the chat, man. I know y'all respect that. You got to, because there's too many people that just woke up during the pandemic, huh? And then guess what? They're trying to lead you.
I'm glad though.
I love it, but guess what? They're trying to lead you and me.
I'll show y'all that.
I'm talking about if Bobby L was here, they're trying to lead Bobby L. You know what I mean? Like these young kids, man, they is wild. They're not learned enough, and they don't want to think that they're not learned enough. And I understand that ego. I was like that when I was young. Whatever I thought I knew at 20, I thought it was everything. Then at 25, I thought I, really knew everything. And, every couple of years, you feel like you done reinvented and you done came up with a new answer. But no, you got to just keep searching, and keep adding to yourself. Like the sister always say, these are just schools of thought. We done went through the various schools of thought. And I mean, I did it diligently. Like I was serious. I did my work. I did my homework. You know what I mean? These people ain't doing it. They ain't like they into these certain schools of thought, but they're not even good students in that school of thought. Like if they're calling themselves a Hebrew, they're not even studying Hebrew. So they're not a diligent Hebrew. You know what I mean? Like if they're a Muslim, you know what I mean? And they just thinking about white Arabs. I don't know what they think about. They thinking just about the Sharia law and all that kind of stuff. They is lost. You know what I mean? So it's just so many levels. You know what I mean? That is, come on. Like even being indigenous, the Moors, we've been trying to tell y'all, it means to the whole entire mother plane. Like my sister always say. You feel me? We indigenous to the entire mother plane.
Look, you see this date right here? This come directly from the master teachers. This February 19th, 1996.
Exactly.
Is it Zoom?
Yep, I see. Yep. At 1
p.m. This the type of work. This the type of work that you do to find out. Not only we know they're corporations, right? In particular, this is the Mecklenburg Police Department, right? This is their articles of incorporation. It says nonprofit. How? When y'all kidnap people and hold them for ransom, how is it nonprofit? It says articles of incorporation of a nonprofit. Hold on. You can't be. That has to be an error. I'm about to show you why if I can find it. That's the last page. Wait a minute. Come on down here. So it's 1998. I thought it was 1998. It looked like a 6. My bad, y'all. I ain't got my glasses on. Scroll up. Where is this? The same page, ain't it? Where is the one with the seal on it? Oh, there you go. Boom. No, this the last page. This showing exactly This the brother who do the 7 documents for the Gray Seal Moors down in Charlotte, North Carolina. This how long this brother been putting in work. Right? This is
Yeah,
the receipt. This your
the
invoice.
whole
This is
due
what I was
diligence.
looking for, the seal right here. So this proves that they doing business. So is the state of Florida running a nonprofit business? How? How? When they
Yeah.
take state taxes out your checks and all type of shit, right?
Yep.
When
That's
they
real.
issue citations and what you call it, what they give you when you do something on your own land that they say is prohibited. You done planted a garden and you done watered your grass on Tuesday and all the other shit
All these
that they
different
say you
ways of
can't do.
violation.
Millions
Yep.
of
Yep.
this how these people became the wealthiest corporation on earth. Cause they got millions of fucking codes and statutes. Man, come on. I don't want to do
Yep.
business with people like that. McDonald's don't make me buy their burgers. You know what I'm saying? Nike don't make me buy their shoes. Gucci don't make me buy their purses. Right? So how is it this state of this, a city of this that is clearly a corporation doing business? How is it that they get to force you into doing business with them? I'm gonna tell you how. Generation after generation, we've been willingly participating in this shit, right? So it's became the norm. You know, if you don't go register to vote, or if you don't register for the draft when you turn 18, if you don't do, you know what I mean, you get looked at like you crazy. Not wanting to do business with the enemy of your ancestors and yourselves into your descendants. Look crazy. I don't look crazy. I get tired of fighting. How long you gonna ride around? How long you gonna ride around in a car that's in your government name, and then you got this Washitaw idea, this Gray Seal idea, this ID that you done made yourself, which is completely and 100% a lawful thing to do, right? But the whip you whipping in is up under a different name, but it got the same birth date. What you think criminals gonna do? The odds are that most times they gonna violate you. They gonna say, no, that is you. You gonna keep saying, no, that ain't me. Instead of saying, I don't want to do business with y'all. Period. I don't want to state of Michigan title on nothing. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't just don't want to do business with y'all people.
Yep. Keep your seal. Keep your seal to yourself. I feel you. I feel
You
you. For real.
return it when you deal with the Secretary of State, which is another process. This process is him looking up who owns the Mecklenburg County Police Officers Association. So he can figure out who the fuck he gonna lean, right? Name of the corporation. Look at here. The name and address of each incorporator is as follows. William S. Stiegel. There go his address. I'm about to sue the shit out of him. Robert B. Dixon. There go his address. I'm about to shit out of him. Wendell E. Kneep. However you say that. You see what I'm saying? These are the processes that most people talk all that shit, but have they ever did this? And this is just a part of the process. This is no different than me going down to a FOIA office or Freedom of Information Act office and requesting to pull a file on this cop or this business or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is how you take care of your business, right?
Yep.
When they violate you, that is, you get
Yep.
all of their information. That way, when you do that counterclaim, that tort claim, then you know what I mean? You got to stand it. But you don't have one. Really, really, you do, because your word is your bond, right? Even though we dealing with fictional people, so you have to deal with them in paper. Fictional entities, rather, corporations. To deal with them in pen and paper, because the reality is state of Michigan cannot be an injured party by me, right? So I'm being sued by the state of Michigan, or it's the state of Michigan versus me. How? How? What the fuck do to the state of Michigan? Nothing. Nothing. So you telling me it's the state of California that has a claim against me? You don't.
Real.
You don't. In order to, in order for that to be, in order for there to be a legitimate claim, guess what? They have to attach you to some type of numbers or documents or contracts, or you know what I mean? Outside of, how many people do you know of that do not, you know what I'm saying, that we'll just say were born in California, you know what I'm saying? That, or that was born in Virginia, went to the same school you went to, that don't have a social security number. I'm not talking about somebody who has come here from a different nation. I'm talking about somebody grandma and great grandma, and we can't say it ain't happened, because my son ain't had one for 7, 8 years. Right? You can't say it don't happen.
Yep. Exactly.
Depends
Like
on how
people
you were
want to.
taught.
Hey, watch this. People want to say that we not sovereign because we don't have a standing army. Does it go army to be sovereign, or basically, sister, are you sovereign? Are we sovereign? Because I mean, I definitely answer for myself. Everybody know I'm gonna say yeah, but I just want to hear
We
you.
are sovereign, but we are sovereign, but our land is under military occupation by United USA Corp in their subsidiaries, being that your states are no longer sovereign, right? So they are an extension of that 10-mile square radius of the District of Columbia. Literally, pen and paper. Pen and paper. See, when the states were sovereign, right? You hear the what is sovereign citizen, the pale people say this type of shit all the time, which is where Moors got this bad rep from our Pan African brothers and sisters, based upon, oh, you got that from the white man. Hold on, ain't no white man created
money count. Serving it perk every ounce. I'm serving the perk, watching it bounce.